Welcome to the world of inventions, technology, and medicines of the 1960s. Without the 1960s, a lot of the things that we take for granted would never exist. The small beginnings and ideas formed into many of the things that we know and are usually downcasted. The 1960s was a gateway to all the possibilities in the future. The small ideas grew into much larger things and shaped our reality. This is a picture of a popular show in the 60s named Star Trek. Star Trek was created by Gene Roddenberry. Star Trek is a science fiction about an intergalactic police force that travels the galaxy in a quest for peace among all living creatures. It was recently remade by J.J. Abrams, and a lot of people enjoyed the movie. Here's a picture of Ken and Barbie when they were first made in the 1960s. Barbie is a teenage doll made for a little girl named Barbara. Her mother saw that she played with paper dolls and decided that she needed a real doll instead of paper, so Barbie was made. But that was back in 1958. The real magic was when Barbies took off. They sold so much that it was difficult to keep them in stock. Then the creator saw it wrong that a girl as beautiful as Barbie should be alone, so Ken was made as Barbie's boyfriend. Barbies are still popular today, and anytime a girl wants a doll, they'll usually ask for a Barbie around Christmas. This is a picture of one of the more famous pop artworks, along with Campbell's soup cans. New artists wanted to get away from the traditional paint and brushstrokes, and so pop art was born. Pop art is described as a form of art that depicts objects or scenes from everyday life and employs techniques of commercial art and popular illustration. It also said it was a new way to see normal things. Artists still use techniques like that today in comics. They also use the same way of thinking, to keep moving forward in art and to get away from paintbrushes. They went from paintbrushes to pop art, and now pop art to abstract. This is Girl with Hair Ribbon. During the 60s, there was also the Cold War. The U.S. and the Soviet Union fought against each other for political power. United States citizens lived in fear that the Soviet Union would bomb them. Bomb shelters were built underground as protection for those who could get there in time. But for those who couldn't, they were taught duck and cover by Bert the safety turtle. Whenever there was a flash, people were instructed to either get under a desk or crouch next to a wall immediately. Thankfully, the U.S. won the Cold War, and there were never any real flashes to fear. But if there were, they were ready. This is Telstar. Telstar was designed by AT&T to use solar power to send and receive television waves to Earth, making the images that people saw on their TVs much clearer. Nowadays, those images were probably really blurry, but think of it this way. HD is HD because of those blurry images. They progressed into much more and gave us a clear view of what we see now on TV. Harry Hess published a book about mid-oceanic drift and seafloor spreading in 1960, but could never explain why it happened. Up until then, no one even knew it did happen. Hess's idea were just random concepts until J. Tuzo Wilson combined seafloor spreading and mid-oceanic drift and came up with tectonic plates, the masses of land underwater that converge and diverge at their respective boundaries. The plates caused the creation of islands, valleys, earthquakes on land, tsunamis in the water, mountain formation, and of course, volcanoes. Sadly, the picture didn't show up on the website, but here it is. Even pretty. Girls, we all love them, and they come in different ways. They're skirts. They're comfortable, free-flowing, and not in the least troubling, right? That's exactly what older women of the 60s thought. The miniskirts make them look cool and young, but as you can imagine, who wants to see older women in clothes that were made for teenagers? Also, since the skirt barely reached mid-thigh and was getting shorter every year, it was downcasted. To appease the critics, the maxi skirt was made, a skirt that reached all the way down to the ankles, just like in them olden days. Now I know that I'm not a sports fan of any fashion, but I know that I do this too. Everyone does. January is ending, and it's almost the first Sunday of February. You sit on the couch with your snack food, friends, and family, just for this event. And can you believe it was made in 1963? You guessed right, it's the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was created as a way to see who the best football team in America was, and the first team to win the Super Bowl were the Packers. Not really sure what's going on up here, but just ignore it. Would you have guessed that in the 1960s, it was expected for someone who had just had a heart transplant to live only about 2 days after? Well, it was. Liver and kidney transplants were successful, but the heart was one that never seemed to take to the new body as easy. Yet and still, another doctor tried again, using a new method by keeping the heart cold and pumping before he transplanted it. And it worked. The man stayed alive for a week with his new heart before dying from lung complications. But even so, that week gave hope to a whole new way of saving lives. Here's my bibliography. That was weird. Here's my bibliography for my pictures. And thanks for watching. Stay in school.